All right. Welcome to the next big stream with IQ Protocol. Today, we have a special guest, our amazing friend Adil from Striker Games, which is responsible for Search for Animera Star Siege. So, we're really excited. They're developing a really cool game. Today, we are going to do it a little bit different. The gameplay wasn't ready for today's presentation. We're going to have another live for that. Today, we're going to have Adil presenting us this amazing game. We already have Sam Crow in the audience. He's like, LFG, let's fucking go. Awesome. Thanks for
LFG.
joining,
He's
Sam Crow.
already there, bro.
He's the best. He's always here.
Yeah, he's great.
Representing Flight Force 4, one of our amazing
Oh,
supporters
okay.
and friends. But yeah, Deal, super happy to have you here. We've had you several times on some AMAs. I've been on your AMAs as well for Twitter Spaces. We're excited to have you the first time on the next big stream, our new streaming show. So here we have you, real in the flesh. I'd love to give you the mic for a little bit of a presentation, a little bit of an introduction, and then yeah, we could go over the game. You could maybe show some trailers or some gameplay, or even whatever you feel the most comfortable to give a little bit of an idea of what the game is about. But I'll give you the stage. How's it going, Adil? Thanks for being here.
Yeah, awesome. Hi, Mom. I'm on TV, so let's kick it off. Yeah, so my name is Adil. I'm the co-founder at Striker Games Web3 Game Dev Studio. And our first title from there is Search for Animera Star Siege. So what we are focusing on is purely PvP action. And I'll go down into that rabbit hole on why we chose sci-fi, why PvP only. There's so many logical reasons. There's so many, market reasons as well that we saw here. But yeah, a bit about me. I come from Web2 marketing space, spent about more than a decade in that space. So when you move from Web2 marketing to Web3 marketing, the friction points that you see are quite shocking. And it's not just for end users, it's for marketers as well. There's so many gaps as well. And my other co-founder, he comes from game production at Konami. Now, when we met in 2021, at that point, it was obviously the peak of, when you start looking at games like Axie, etc., which obviously attracted a lot of attention. I think there was one very famous chart which had Axie's valuation just before Ubisoft. So it's like, okay, really, is this possible? Like, decades of work versus a game that's there. So I think eventually every point that we were discussing between ourselves kept going back to the point that at some point, even if you want to call Web3 gaming super new, you're exciting, at some point it'll start going back to some fundamentals. And that is respecting gamers, meeting them where they are, rather than asking them to drop their standards. And we knew that this is not a sprint as such. This is a marathon.
Mhm.
So, and you're seeing that right now. Like whichever games are putting out their gameplay trailers, demos, etc., the quality for that looks infinitely better than what we saw in 2021. So that's
Absolutely.
start speaking to gamer psychology. Who is your audience? How do you impress them? And there's so many points that gamers will go through. Maybe it's just minor things like user experience. Onboarding has been such a huge topic for the last few months, and IMX Passport and so many solutions are coming. So it's now starting to address gamer needs rather than the file in game file. So yes, there is an angle, and the PvP economies and how your token reward system, all of that is great, but that all will follow the gameplay. That will follow where users are spending their time. They're giving, if you value their attention as a currency, then the best thing you can do is the best thing you can have is like gamers play your game. So yeah, that's very quick spiel about whole mindset, what we were thinking when we started building. So then we started looking at, okay, what do we want to build? So very quick spiel about Search for Animera. It's a PvP only sci-fi space shooter, and it's going to be free to play. We're keeping it capped at 5 to 8 minute rounds. We want to keep it very high, fast, action-based gameplay. We don't want to go into that exploration category, and that's another topic on its own. Happy to talk about that as well. But yeah, that's the idea that gamers come in, they quickly find out whether they won or lost, and that's the feedback loop. That okay, if you are a Type A person, if you play multiplayer, you don't want to get your ass kicked. It sucks. So you immediately want to come back and play that game. So it's always a battle between, if you're winning or losing, and the sooner you get that feedback, the better it is. I mean, for sure there are exploration games, etc., which is a different audience. We don't want to focus on those ones.
I love it. Keeping it fully PvP. I'm curious, what inspired this type of game? You know, you mentioned space shooter. I'm seeing a lot of genres. You know, we think of Star. I think of Star Atlas, Phantom Galaxies.
Hmm.
Now I'm thinking of Search for Animera, Star Siege. I love the genre. You know, so I'm very curious. What fueled the inspiration behind creating this type of game?
Yeah, so I mean, both co-founders and a lot of people on the team, they really enjoy sci-fi. So there is obviously a affinity towards the whole sci-fi genre, space shooters as well. But at the same time, we started looking at what should we build, and we didn't want to go. I want to go back to that point about exploration category. Uh, I think if we go down that genre, it's a very small audience that will either love your game or hate your game. Look at games like No Man's Sky, look at EVE Online, etc. They have a cult audience, and that's fine. But for us, I think being in the Web3 genre, we want to focus on getting your games in as many hands as possible. Building the game is one thing, getting it in as many hands is another. So we wanted to focus on, okay, what genres are people playing? So shooters are by far the number one category. I think like 65, 70% of players they play. Multiplayer is still the biggest one. I mean, games are way more fun when you play with your friends. So we wanted to use these type of hard data and combine it with what we love. At the same time, look at games that have come out in the past, like Star Wars Squadron and all. It has a very small campaign mode, but mainly focuses on that quick action-based battles, and that's the inspiration that we had. So we wanted to combine these things and build something that's also easy. When I say easy, it's like with heavy quote marks. I think dev team will kill me, but like it's much easier from a production point of view to do a space background than to do an entire planet or like heavily built maps. So there's logical reasons for them. Like if you want to do, space-based apps, we can rather churn them out in a much faster pace, which also means that, as we get data on them, we can take them down, tweak them. And we also want to look at community-based maps later, but that's a separate phase as such. But yeah, it's from production point of view, it's from, what people are playing, how they're enjoying these games, and all of that started compiling into, the whole game that we're building now. So it makes the first product much smaller, but also a testing ground for everything that we want to get it right. And then when we switch to our second title, Terra Strike, that focuses on PvP land battle. That's a much more ambitious project. And obviously everything that we learn in first game, we're going to apply that in second game because again, it's going to focus on PvP only, but that's a much bigger project. So that's how we see it that, do things much quicker in the first one rather than promise a game in, 3 to 5 years. And I don't think we should be doing that in Web3 space. Like attention span is short, anyways. We have to respect people that are in your community and deliver something rather than talk about delivering.
I
So what
Yeah, go
game?
ahead, David.
Yeah. So what's the ultimate goal? So you have Star Siege, you have Terra Strike, and then is there something at the end of the road, like the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow?
I don't think development ever ends. but but yeah, I mean, if you think about our own IP, uh, that's the initial plan. Like as a studio, it's very very important to have something that you can call your own. Then once we establish this, we want to then start talking to Web2 games who want to move into Web3 space, but don't know how. Now, these are not going to be your classics and your biggest titles, etc. I mean, for sure, they must be looking at Web3 even right now, be it through investments, be it through research patents, whatever. But you have a whole number of games that have been delivered, but for some reason haven't clicked. Now, when these games want to start looking at Web3 integration, it could either be a smart contract, or it could be at anything from pure Web3 development. It could even be from understanding Web3 community marketing and how do you bring those games over. So idea is look at those games, start building those partnerships, but it's almost a partnership of equals because we bring something from our side, like, hey, this is what we already delivered. Now let's partner up and start getting in more games over and see, where that takes the IP. And I think that obviously means that the IP gets expanded pretty quickly. But we don't want to go too fast right now. We want to first get our own thing right and then start looking at how do we help others. I think that model favors us from more long-term perspective rather than promising that, hey, we're going to bring in 10 games right now in 2024. That's simply not possible. So whoever has been involved in games in any sense will know that no, that's definitely not happening. So it's a slow process, but yeah, we want to get first right with others and then look at, hey, here's credentials, here's what we've done. Now let's speak.
I just
Yeah,
wanted to say
no,
one quick thing, Marcello, and then I hand it back over to you. That kind of comes back full circle to where game studios like yourself are going to start evolving with this idea of Web3. And I've said that before on the spaces, Marcello. I'm sure that you remember is that game studios, now that this Web3, the digital asset ownership is becoming so popular. Now game studios are going to start having to figure out how to build this into their games, and that's what Ideal is already doing. He's ahead of the curve.
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, just going into Web3 as a marketer, it's a bit of a shock, like, how many data points are missing, how do you bridge that on-chain data with, user acquisition data, with engagement data? I mean, if you worked on Google Ads, Facebook Ads, it's just like few clicks. Oh, here's your estimated audience size, boom, run the ads at scale. But even understanding the community mindset, all of that, it just comes with time. There's no playbook as such. And I think in Web3, the beauty is that it's exactly that. There is no playbook. Everyone is figuring things out as they go. So you're going to see a lot of experiments. You're going to see failure as well. But I think that's okay in a creative field. Like, it's everybody is not going to get rewarded equally. It's not a science. There's a lot of creative parts to it, and the reward is going to be uneven, and that's perfectly okay.
yeah, I love all that. Just to kind of comment on everything you're doing. I love, the long-term vision. I love, even the short-term plan in terms of the roadmap that you're building. And I think, building IP is always a great idea, especially in the space that we're in. You want to be able to own what you're building. You want to be able to own your intellectual property. And yeah, I really like the plan, between building this first game in the short run where, we're taking advantage of this opportunity because you're right, attention is very short, and especially in Web3 things move so quick, and it's like you kind of want to have a game out very soon because the bull run, uh, not financial advice, but hopefully is around the corner. And it's like you kind of want to take advantage of that opportunity. You don't want this game to come out in the next bear market. And it's like having something to build for the long run where, you have something to offer for more people. So I think it's brilliant how you're really approaching that. I really like the game studio idea. You're basically setting yourself up for the future of gaming, which, a lot of studios are going to be looking at getting into the space, and I'm speaking about Web2 studios that haven't really taken advantage of this thing that we call Web3 yet. But I think over the next few years, they're going to realize that there's this huge opportunity, and I think that gamers are going to start demanding it more. We're going to start to see it from communities that, hey, what's this thing called Web3? What's this thing called ownership? I'm able to own my assets now. Why is this game doing that and this game isn't doing that? And I really believe that what's going to happen is, as the shrapnels, the alluviums, perhaps the star sieges of the world are going to come ahead, and it's like, oh, okay, I own my assets in Star Siege. Why in this other sci-fi PvP that everyone else is playing? I think of maybe Eve Online right now, which for a long time was very popular and now is Web3 based, I believe. And it's like they're taking the right route. But if they hadn't taken that route, people are going to start being comparing. It's like, oh, okay, Eve is fun and all, but in this other game, I own my assets. I'm able to monetize my time. I'm able to get rewarded for all the money that I've invested into this game. That if the game were deleted, I would lose all my assets. I would lose the thousands of dollars that I put into this game. So yeah, I really believe in the thesis that you just explained there, and that's why I'm bullish on games like yourself and creators like Adil, because they get it, and that's why we bring on projects like this on the next big stream. This is why I wanted to showcase projects in real time on our live streams, because it's fun also to kind of talk about it on an AMA, but it's even cooler to kind of show it in real time. Which, for those that are just tuning in, we're gonna have a series 2 of this stream with Search for Animera, where we're gonna show you some live streams of the gameplay. David and I are gonna play. I'm gonna try and kick David's butt, and
Yeah,
we're gonna have a
right.
good
Good luck.
Yeah, I
we're
think
gonna have a
somebody
good
had asked
time.
us like, who's the best pilot and who's the worst in your test sessions. They're like, oh man, the dev
Yeah.
team, they're
No,
like Terminators. You know, you
Marcello
cannot beat
doesn't
them.
stand a chance. He doesn't stand a chance. I don't know where he's coming. He said the other week, like we were playing League, and he's like, "Yeah, I play League," and then I get on there, and he's like, he's floundering around, like he doesn't know what his abilities do and stuff. I'm like, dude, come on.
You gotta fake it till you make it, man. But I'm
You just
super
met your
competitive.
match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the type of place we're looking at. Like, I still remember when I used to play FIFA with my friends and I would lose. Like, the amount of shit talking that just happens in PvP games. Like, these are your
yeah,
friends, but you hate it and like, okay, one more rematch, one more rematch,
yeah,
that's the kind of players that we're looking at. I mean, on the one end, you have, people who are looking at esports, and that's probably, less than 1% of players who actually make a living out of it. And then you have like people who are into completely casual games and all. So for us, like it's people who enjoy multiplayer but want to compete at some level. And the whole angle about user monetization and them monetizing their skill set. I want to mention very briefly that for us, we are going to have a casual mode, which is free to play, which obviously serves as a user acquisition method. But then there's a competitive mode in which users stake tokens from their side and create a prize pool out of it. If you win or the winning team wins, you get a majority of the prize pool. And obviously, the protocol keeps a small percentage of the stake tokens. So it's up to us if you want to burn those tokens, if you want to reward them. And on the NFTs part as well, we don't want to keep our game NFT gated, which means that if you buy a Web2 version of that spaceship, you can buy it in fiat, but you keep a lower percentage of the prize pool. If you were to buy the NFT version of that same spaceship, you get to keep a higher percentage. But then the NFT version is limited in quantity. So it's letting the user decide like what's their user journey like, and there are going to be different pockets of users who play the game in different ways. Some will probably just play casual, and that's fine. But you'll start seeing people who appreciate the game, and then they can see that okay, they're able to monetize a little bit now. Do I want to spend a little bit on that NFT asset because I think I could be earning more? Yes, no. The market will decide for that. But it gives users the freedom to keep playing these games and decide like what is my time worth, what is my monetization aspect really, and you're not monetizing some chance, you're monetizing on your skill set. So let the user decide. If it provides value to them, users will spend in those games. That's how we think it should be. And I think there was even a report from Game 7 DAO in Q4 of last year. I was surprised to read that now 69% of games are going the free to play angle. I thought it
Hmm.
would be much less, but it just represents the fact that, hey, you have this core community. Now you want to expand to a much larger community. There's a huge risk for the gamer in terms of what value are they getting out of that IP. I mean, for Web2 gamers, it's been that, hey, I spend $70, I get this game, or it's been free to play and I get this game, and then I spend in them. But for Web3 games, like if there's low brand awareness, there's low IP value, there's a much bigger risk for the user to, give their time to you. Even forget spending, even giving their time to you, that's
Hmm.
a commodity and that should be appreciated. So that's how we think that, give users the freedom, let them decide where they want to spend, if they want to spend, and if they see value, I think gamers they spend ridiculous amounts on items that you would not want to show to your family members at some dinner party, but it's fine. Like you enjoy it. You think yeah, I want to play this game. Who cares? Like so yeah, that's a thought process into whole monetization angle, and especially looking at monetizing your skill set from a user's perspective.
I love all that, and just to comment on a few things, yeah, I'm just really excited. I think what excites me the most is like some of the points you made, like, giving the player the freedom to decide what they want to do and what they want to invest their time on. That's why I'm so bullish on Web3 gaming, because it's empowering the user, it's empowering the players. And for a long time, it's
Hmm.
the developers and the publishers that had all the power and made all the decisions and owned all the assets, right? And for the first time, we're seeing the opposite. That little pyramid of power is kind of switching, where now it's like it's the users that have a lot of the power and decision making. And to your point, Adil, I actually believe we might have done an AMA with Victory Point maybe 2, 3 months ago on the topic of Game 7's statistics on, free to play was one of the
Hmm.
topics, but Absolutely. Like free to play is huge, and there's such an abundance of games nowadays, and we're gonna keep seeing new games that at the point that we're at, people are gonna have to decide where they're gonna put their time. And it's like, I'm not gonna pay for a game I haven't even tried yet. So it makes a lot of sense, the free to play model. And then I think from that point, once I'm involved into the game, I could decide, okay, do I want to spend a little bit of money? And I really like the options that you gave there between like having the fiat Web 2 version of the spaceship, or I could decide to get the Web 3 NFT based version and get a higher reward. And it's like, okay, maybe I don't want to get into this NFT thing right away. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the conventional version of it, try it out, and it's like, oh wait, this is pretty cool. Why can't I earn more rewards? This guy has the NFT. I'm gonna get that NFT. And now it's like you're giving full autonomy to the player to decide essentially what they want to do, and that's what people want. People want to have that sense of ownership over their decisions. They want to have a sense of autonomy to decide what they want to do with their time and where they want to invest their money. So giving all that power to your players, I think, is brilliant. And yeah, I'm just really excited about what you guys are doing. I think that's great. And I want to just go over to the comments before I pass it back to you. Let's just see where we're at. Sam Crow is killing me. He's just making some jokes over that, saying you guys are in the same apartment over here. I was actually gonna figure out how to put it for mine too, but that's super funny. We had an inside joke as well with the Project Lambo team, where David had the same background as Iqbal, their COO, so very, very funny. But yeah, David, do you have anything you want to jump in and say around here, or Adil, if you want
All
to
I
say
wanted to
anything else?
say, man, was that yeah, absolutely. This is how Web3 wins. This is how Web3 takes over, and it's just it's giving the power back to the player, or giving the power to the player to be able to make the decisions that incentivizes them little by little, game by game, to adopt this idea of of asset ownership. So I love how game studios are now, they're jumping on board and they're ahead of the time, they're ahead of the curve. And I don't necessarily think that a big Web 2 giant needs to come into the Web 3 space to make it like pop off. I think that with enough incentivization and enough of little by little pushes by game studios, gamers are just going to evolve to that idea, right? Like when you go back to like Pong, there was no digital asset ownership, and then like let's skip forward to like the 90s where you've got Zelda and you're walking around with the Master Sword or the Ocarina or whatever, and you own that item in the game. And now, fast forward to today, now you've got that item in your wallet. It shows up and you can trade it for money in the open market. So someone else can play the game with that item. So I think that we're just evolving to this digital asset ownership. And I think that what Striker Games is doing is definitely adding to that push that's being made.
And I just want to
Yeah,
jump in here before
sure, sure.
if Adelia had said so, and here's just an observation from my end. It's like going back to the free to play thing. It's a point I wanted to say, and then I forgot. It's just, if you look at the biggest games in the world right now, they're free to play. Like I remember discovering League of
Mm-hmm.
Legends on an ad, like a decade and a half ago, and like it was at that point it was a free to play, and I think that was like probably one of the first free to play games, because a lot of games you had to pay with, which I'm speaking over 10 years ago. And it's like, you look today, it's still one of the world's biggest games. And it's like, how do you get people in? You get them to try it. And then from there, it's like, oh, okay. If I want to invest more money on a skin because I want to upgrade my character, and also need to mention the skin doesn't have any impact on the performance on the game. It's not skill based. It's purely aesthetic. But they've built a
Mm-hmm.
multi-billion-dollar game on that. We look at games like Fortnite, which is literally still one of the world's biggest games. You're seeing all the stuff they're doing with UGC, fully free, fully completely free on any console, desktop, mobile, Xbox, PS3. PS4, sorry, and it's just like the list goes on, and it's like they're racking in billions of dollars just on optional purchases in the game. And it's like, how do you get somebody in the game? You try it out for free, you want to play it, and it's like, oh, okay, I could spend 15 bucks on a skin to kind of look cooler. It won't have any impact on the gameplay, on any of my skill-based performance, yet people still want to spend on it because it's like it adds to the experience, and I think that's what's really fun about, purchasing these things. It's that people why do people buy clothes? Why do people buy skins? Why do people buy certain things? It's because that's how humans communicate. We like to express ourselves, and we express ourselves through these things. So it's clearly been a model that's worked in the Web 2 gaming sector racking in billions of dollars, and it's like I don't see how. For me, it's inconceivable how that wouldn't work in Web3. In fact, I think it's almost a must because a lot of people don't. There's a lot of skepticism, obviously, when it comes to Web3 gaming, and a lot of people don't want to spend money on something they haven't seen yet. So it's like being able to get a taste
Mm-hmm.
of that. I almost want to try the food first before paying for it, right? And then it's like, okay, this food tastes amazing. I'll give you a good tip. I'll even buy even more. I'll get a second round of the food, but people want to get a taster of it first. And it's like, I really believe in that model. I'm using food right now. I think of Costco. Costco is a huge, they crush it, and it's because they give out free samples. They get people to try this stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, I like how this tastes. I'm gonna fill up my shopping cart with it. And I think that's really a model that's been shown to work and will continue to work. And I think as people start to realize the abundance and I think, I don't even want to use the word, but the oversaturation of games, because there's thousands of games right now, and it's gonna get even more lucrative. It's like you're gonna have to follow the free to play model because people will know about the game, and it's like they need to get a taste of it. We're looking at, I was looking at Pal World right now. You do have to pay for that game, but people are
Mm-hmm.
getting a taste of it through streaming. People are getting a taste of it through
Yeah.
content creation and seeing their favorite content creators play the game for free. And it's like, oh, okay, they're having a fun time. And they're kind of vicariously playing the game through other people. And it's like, okay, this looks like a fun game. Now I'll spend money on it. But they had to kind of essentially get a taste of the game first. Even if it's just watching their friends or their favorite streamers, they needed to get a taste of it before being like, okay, I'm comfortable spending 40, $50 on this game now because I at least there's the validation and the confirmation from the outside world that this game is fun. So yeah, it's just an observation I wanted to add, but I'll pass it back to Adil before I cut you off if you had
Yeah.
anything you wanted to add to that.
No, it's very valid observation. I mean, when we think about CS skins going for 6 figures, that's not overnight. I mean, the value of that IP has been done over decades, and that's why people spend on it. It's like how people feel when they get these items that don't even add, abilities. How do you feel about when you're playing that? Does that make the game more fun for you? Like if you're playing Fortnite with in a Darth Vader skin, is that more fun? Probably it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
just for lols. But we have to do a much longer effort in terms of how do you position these items, what's the value to them, how do people feel when they play these games and when they use these items, and that's where I think the spending part unlocks on the gamers front. So like you
Yeah.
mentioned about even Pal World, you mentioned I mean, look at Nifty Island. Like I got my hands on it. Pretty awesome, right? Like you just put in the game launcher, you create your island, you have a link, you share it with others, you're watching people stream it. And I think
Mm-hmm.
the whole idea that your open world or metaverse should have limited plots, I think they just debunked it. Like, no, as soon as you come in, you get your own island, and the idea is that like, hey, customize your island as much as possible. So before they go to the Web2 market and say like, oh, play this game, and everybody, like, why? Who's playing it? How many players do you have? And then like, oh, these are this many islands, and these are, you can do terraforming, you could be doing building, you could be doing racing,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody has his own effect. And then people, oh, now I've heard about it, I've seen somebody play. Where are my friends? What are they playing? What games are they trying out even? So that starts unlocking things, but it's a very slow process, but it's a very long term effort, I would think. And whoever thinks that they can gate the game and people will come in and play is attracting the pure speculator market, which I would say for Web3 games is a bit necessary because it starts breaking that trade and that hype around the trade itself. But you need to be looking at other segments as well, like who's going to be talking about your game, who's going to be playing it, who's going to be spending in it. And that's completely different from somebody just talking about trading that same spaceship for a higher value. So yeah, the Web3 it just unlocks all these audiences and forces game studios to look at it and be like, hey, okay, there is some sense to this.
Before we
Absolutely.
get into the trailers and the gameplay for Animera, I just wanted to ask, what kind of advice would you give to people out there that are looking at creating a game, and how could they get started?
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh, that's a heavy loaded question, David. I love it though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm sure there's someone out there that's looking at this stream saying, "How do I get started in my own game?"
Okay. I think okay. So I remember one point where you were mentioning the biggest games in Web3 side. I think you're gonna have two types of games that will be hit. One are the ones that you're seeing in your stream. Are very heavy on budget and obviously are good as well. But I think there's also going to be sleeper hits that come out of Web3, which nobody's expecting, but they check off on gameplay part. It's fun. They might not have the biggest team, they might not have the biggest budget, but it just connects with people at some level. I think in 2019 there was this tactical shooter called Splitgate. It's on Steam. The only difference that they had was in a short map, you can open up portals, and which means that you just jump across the map and you catch your enemy from behind, and that's the whole spin that they have on tactical shooters. It was a hit. Like I think they had 100,000 positive reviews. Now they're looking at getting Splitgate 2 as well. So yeah, that's sorry, bit of divergence, but for somebody who's building, look at it from the user's perspective. Don't go in for short term. Don't as a startup. I think the biggest thing you have to make decision on is what to say no to. Especially in game dev, there's 1,000 things that we could be packing. We could be having endless Jira tickets for our dev team. That's not going to help them. So everybody has to be on board with what we're building, why we're building, and then look at it in iterations. Like I could be, talking to the dev team and say, hey, let's introduce an exploration angle and a survival angle, and PvP and etc. But your final product ends up being it ends up being something that you didn't imagine. Uh, your dev cycles get super long with each request that you get in. So think big but execute small. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, look at Star Citizen. It's been 10 years. I think now they announced they're going out of alpha. I'm not sure, but
Which one's this?
Star Citizen. So I think it's been
Um,
still.
okay.
I think it's in alpha. Yeah, but so
Hmm.
yeah, don't go too grand. It's fine to think grand, but execute small and think your Web3 community and users will value delivering on things rather than just talking about things. Maybe that hype might have worked 4 years back, but now as more entrants come in, I think a lot of focus is on gameplay demo, getting your game out there, getting streamers to watch it, and I think that's the way as it should be. I mean, this is standard Web2 playbook. So it goes back to my point that yes, you have to address it at some fundamental levels. Like you can change the script on some things, like your community and how you talk to them and Discord and crypto Twitter, etc. But yeah, you have to address the basics of gamers. Like gamers will accept some friction points. Like even if you're creating an email account in a game, like there is a friction, but it's just like is the value that I get after I create go through this minor inconvenience, is that worth it or not? And that's just the basic example of user onboarding, but it's a bit annoying, right? Like if you have to go through hoops, people don't want that, and especially Web2 gamers, if you're trying to speak to them, speak in their language, speak in simple terms, rather than trying to complicate your product. Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard. I think even right now we would have loved to bring the private beta out now and have us three playing. Uh, Dev team is just polishing and we're getting very close to our private beta. So we are getting it out in 3 weeks, which means that right now it's crunch time for dev team to get everything polished. So yeah, it's very hard, I would say, but I don't know, if you enjoy what you do, then it feels like less of a burden.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. So, my take from what you said, definitely, have a clear vision of what you're trying to build and stick to it, because it's easy to get sidetracked. And, I'm sure, trying to create something, there's always, when you have a creative mind, you're always coming up with new ideas, and then you just want to execute on all of them, but you can't. You have 1,000 ideas, and it's like, no, right now we could just focus on 10 ideas. And this is the roadmap, and this is like what we're going to have to focus on for the next couple of years, and it's like sticking to that and maybe adjusting as things move along, but like sticking to that vision. And everybody has to have that coherence across the team, because obviously if you have somebody else trying to build something else, um or trying to add different ideas, the message gets mixed up. right? And then now we're building different things, and not everybody's on board to the same thing. And yeah, I know that's really great takes, Adil. Do you have anything you'd like to share in terms of any trailers or any visuals that we could share with the screen for the audience? Or I know we went through a lot here. We're gonna save some action for the real gameplay in a few weeks or whenever we do this live stream. But yeah, if there's anything you want to share on screen, I would definitely love to share with the audience.
Yeah, sure. Let me bring up my screen. I want to share the gameplay trailer. We did it in September already. I think it's got 82,000 views so far, 5,500 likes, 5.9K retweets, almost 800 comments. So
Wow. Okay, I
keep
want
the
to see
love
this one
coming on
now.
it. Hang on.
Sam Crow's like, they will never leave Alpha.
I saw
They
that
will,
comment.
Sam Crow.
No,
he,
yeah, yeah,
he
that was
worked.
Sam
Star
knows.
Citizen, I think. He was talking about Star Citizen.
I got you.
That's
Yeah.
Sam
It's
knows
not
what's
him.
up
It
with
wasn't
Star
him. It was when
Citizen.
we were talking about Star Citizen. I knew that if that wasn't addressed right away, for sure, we would have thought he was talking about Striker. But no, I got to cover for my boy, man.
I love it. Thanks for saying that, Sam Crow. We got Flower in the audience saying, "Let's go, let's go,
Let's go
Flower."
indeed.
I
All
love it.
right.
Yeah, he's like Star
Okay, I've got
Citizen.
it. Star Citizen it
Sounds
is.
good. I would have just taken it as a joke because I know, whenever you're in
It
alpha,
is.
there's always delays and there's always things, and
Yeah,
Sam Crow's part of the Flight Force 4 team, so I'm sure he knows how that feels.
I know. I mean, but I think Star Citizen they raised 500 million. Uh,
Oh my God, what?
I know.
What?
It's the world's most expensive Kickstarter project.
Oh my God.
That's the fun part. Like it'll never leave alpha. Like oh hey, let's pack more things. And oh, there's all these bugs. So please. All right. Let me bring up. Let me know when you can see the gameplay
Perfect.
trailer post.
Yes, sir. It's been shared. Perfect. We see it now.
All right.
I hope the sound is playing.
Oh
We'll
no.
test it out.
Yeah,
Let's
I
give
hope
it a
the
shot.
sound is playing and it's not laggy. Like, oh, it's doing. Oh, okay.
Is it? Can you hear the sound?
No.
Try again. Click
Yeah.
play. It's okay if there's no sound. It's just better. But yeah, no, there's no sound. I'm not sure if when you share it, there's an. Oh, wow. Okay, this looks so cool though. It's fine though.
Yo, what?
This looks
That
so
looks
good,
so
dude.
awesome.
Yo,
Okay, so you've got like casual mode where you can race, and then you've got like PvP mode.
casual and competitive. Capture the flag. Okay, now I definitely gotta beat David at this.
Deathmatch. Nah, man, you don't stand a chance, man. Like Marcello, what are you talking about, man?
Yo.
You're dreaming.
This looks really quality. Really, really like a quality game. Striker
Oh
Games?
man, that looks
Wow.
sick. Yo, I like the ship design too. They're really cool looking.
Clean. Oh, that
Yeah.
was so good. That was
Shout out to
amazing.
our video editor. He did an awesome job with it.
Yeah, that was a great trailer, man. That looked a lot of fun.
Oh,
For
damn,
sure.
I'm
I
so
mean,
hyped right now.
oh, for sure. I mean, like that's the whole idea. Like, keep it fast paced for people. I think that's a better strategy to win our gamers. And we don't
Yep.
want to go for that whole metaverse social crowd. We don't want to go for the explorers crowd. We want to focus on people who are heavy into accumulating the assets, or they're heavy into kicking others' ass. Like they're literally called killers as a gamer segment. So they enjoy that thrill. I don't know what that says about personality. I'm one of them, maybe, but
I
but
I
yeah.
I
That's
uh
cool,
I
man.
connect to that.
Say, there you go. Like nobody likes losing. It's
Yeah,
universal, I would say.
that's it. And I like how you mentioned that. I love the competitive nature of it. It reminds me of like, when you finish a game and it's like the game's over and it's like, I gotta jump back in another one and just like get everybody back. And I think I can definitely feel that from this game, and I'm really excited to definitely try it out. This is Really exciting. I'm really excited. Um, so yeah, I'm just looking at the time here. I know we got another stream with Project Lambo very soon. The next we're gonna tune in the next 10, 15 minutes. Adil, this was amazing. Are there any final things you'd like to say before we start wrapping it up? Honestly, the trailer was amazing. The
Thank
explanation was
you.
amazing. I love the roadmap. I love the vision. You touched on a lot of things here today, so really excited. But yeah, if there's any other things you'd like to touch, David got too excited. He just ran off the stream. I don't know where he was.
He's off to play Star Citizen now.
Yeah, he's back. Okay,
Yeah.
David, what
All
happened?
right. Hey, David.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Go ahead, David.
I just wanted to say that I clicked the login button and then it like shot me out. So sorry about that. Yeah, but what Marcello was saying, like your game looks awesome. I can't wait to play it. You gotta have us on for a stream when it's live.
For sure.
And I've already got some competitive juices flowing to try to take down Marcello. Like if you can give me like an hour or two before that I can practice, that's great, man. I'll send you some ETH or something. We'll figure something out. A little
Hey, don't
bribe,
worry.
you
We
know.
we have a tutorial mode as well, so
Okay,
everybody's gonna
great.
sharpen their knives.
Okay, perfect.
Hey, there's just one thing before we start wrapping it up. I think when we were talking about free to play, it came to me now. I don't know if it was David or Marcello, but it also comes back to the point that when you try to reduce the risk for the gamer, it comes back to the whole concept of trying before you buy, try before you buy, and that's where like rentals can also help a lot with gamers making that decision. Like, hey, I don't want to put in, I don't know, whatever, $50. I want to rent it for a week. I want to try it out for a day, maybe even like a 24-hour free trial period, and then like try to entice them in and get. I think that's uh, for Web3. I think that's like a huge untapped opportunity, because when you look at assets that have previously been priced in hundreds, and the risk of zero knowledge about that IP, when you start combining those two things, rentals is probably going to be massive space when you start looking at scaling those audiences, at the same time bringing them closer to you via different sales tactics, or be it through rental tactics. I think that's super important to address, and glad you guys are looking at that.
yeah, that's exactly why, one of the reasons why we have rentals, and I think that's what really excites me. It's like, back in the day, if you wanted to try a game or buy an asset, it's like you just gotta buy the asset, and it's like, hundreds of dollars for a lot of these assets, and it's like,
Hmm.
why would I spend that much money if I don't know I want to keep it? What if I want to try it for a few weeks and then I'm on to the next thing? Why not be able to rent the asset? And it's like, okay, right now I'm bored for the next month. Another game might be coming out. I might just want to try it, maybe move on to the next game. Maybe I'm actually really invested in this game, but I don't have 500 USD to spend right now, but I do have 20 USD that I could maybe rent it for 3 to 4 days and then get a taste of it and then be like, oh, okay, now I'm willing to spend $500 on this asset and actually own it. And yeah, it's really a win-win. And what's fun about rentals is that, not only does the player that rents it win in the situation because they get to try it, the person who owns the asset also wins because they get to earn rewards for renting it out. So you could have a split there where, I might not own the asset, I still maybe want to earn something, so I rent it for someone else. And the person that's maybe at work all day and doesn't have time to play and farm or do whatever with the game could still earn on their asset instead of just keeping it in a vault or in a cold wallet and nothing's happening. At least I can maybe earn 50% of that and give it to somebody who's grinding in the Philippines or somewhere other part of the world right now who could maybe earn a decent living just from playing the game. And for me, it's like this is my hobby, but I don't have time to play 12 hours a day. I have my kids. I got work to do. I still wanna level up in the game. I still want to earn rewards, and it's like rentals come into the picture because now we're able to have a situation where both parties win. And yeah, it's really exciting. And I'm really happy you mentioned that. I think there's so much abundance when it comes to the opportunity of rentals. It opens up a whole new paradigm that for a long time didn't really exist. And even at that, if I wanted to rent an asset in a traditional game, it's built on
Hmm.
trust. Maybe I could use an escrow, but it's like you never know if you're going to get it back. You don't, there's just too many complications. Now with the blockchain, I'm able to do that in a way that I'm able to actually keep the original asset with IQ protocol stored in a vault. The person borrowing the asset rents an expirable version of it, and the original asset never leaves the owner's safety. And it's like now this person's able to rent this asset with the safety of not having me to worry that I'm going to lose my asset, I'm going to get scammed, yada yada yada, and everyone has fun. Person plays with my asset, I earn some commission from renting it out to someone else. Everyone's happy. So there's a
Absolutely,
lot there.
absolutely. I mean, you can start looking at things from, lifetime value of people who rented and then ended up purchasing the same asset, or, how long did they play the game. There's so many ways in which you could slice that on-chain data, but it's just there that, this is the friction that was created from the last cycle, the hype. I think now it's going to start settling in that, okay, fine. Last bull market was, very different. Now it's time to really scale things, make things easier for people. And if you want to attract people and scale, then there are going to be different strategies and tactics that you want to try. Free to play is one of them. At the same time, renting is a great way to get people, get a feel for your brand more than the gameplay as well, and then see like, oh, this is what I could be owning, but I don't have. But now I'm ready to spend, and that's just like saying like a demo is worth 1,000 slides. So in this case, like you give them a feel of that asset rather than just talk about it, and some of those people will love and play those games and spend on those games, and that's what exactly the games need.
Absolutely. That's exactly what games need. So I think that's a wrap, guys. Thank you so much for everybody tuning into the space. I'm just going to check the comments one last time. All right. Thank you, Sam Crow. Thank you, Flower. Thank you, everyone else on this stream. We've had an average of 10 to 20 viewers throughout the whole stream. So that's been really cool. I'm sure a few hundred people tuned in throughout the whole stream so far. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Adil, for being here from Striker Games, Search, for Animera, Star Siege. Really excited to have you here. I'm really excited for the gameplay already, seeing that trailer. We're going to do that definitely in the very near future. Yeah, I'm really excited. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we close up? David, Adil?
Yeah. I would just like to ask Adil if people want to start getting involved with Striker Games and Animera, Star Siege, where could they go?
All right, so the best place for us is in our Discord. So that's discord.gg/Animera game. You start getting active with the server, you complete quests, you earn points, and you exchange that for the private beta access. So that's the quickest way. We have a bunch of Zeely quests around engagement, around visiting website. Um, just check out our Discord, and I think we've introduced some new roles which offer discounts on the Mint collection when it comes out. So that combines with your roles. If you have a commander role, that's the entry role for private beta access. You get 2 NFT spots plus private beta. If you combine that with some discount roles that you have, now you're getting discount on those 2 NFTs as well. So get active in our server, and it's very popular. I think it has like now more than 15,000 people. So Discord mods are running around answering queries, but that's a good thing. So yeah, and as soon as private beta comes out, I'd be happy to come back on another stream. Let's see who kicks whose ass. Hopefully I get some more practice than you both, but let's see.
I can't wait. So for everybody here, please check out their Discord. Jump in, say what's up. Say IQ Protocol brought you. I know we gave out some whitelist spots during our holiday mixer raffle. So for those that did win, and if you're tuning in, make sure to claim those whitelist spots. Make sure to jump in their Discord, as that's where you will need to claim it. And if you didn't win, join their Discord anyway, and try to get some private beta
The scale
access,
time.
as this game exactly, as this game looks really good, and I'm really excited. Honestly, the first few seconds I was like, okay, this is quality right here. All right,
All right,
well,
guys,
thank you
just
so much,
closing up.
Adil.
I just wanted to say
Yes.
one thing, just closing up, guys. IQ Protocol, you can find our NFT rental infrastructure at iq.space, and you can also find Animera Star Siege at striker.games.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, Adil. Thanks, David, for always being a great co-host. We'll catch you very soon, Adil. And yeah, I know it's probably like 8, 9 p.m. over there. You're probably going to be grinding a bit longer. I'm not sure, but thanks so much for doing
Yeah.
this. And enjoy the rest of your evening.
Hey, you too, guys. Thanks for having us. Take care. Bye bye.
Take care.
Ciao,
Bye-bye.
man.